So, Sajan, we ready?
Yes, Prasanna, the broadcast is started.
All right, great. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Project Virtual Conference 2015. I'm very excited to be able to pull this event together. I'm even more excited to have Sajan Parihar with us to do the keynote. Sajan is the Director of Product Management at Microsoft, focusing on project and Visio businesses. I am very excited for this event because he's going to cover some of the things, some of the lingering questions that we all have. Things like, okay, is Microsoft interested in project on premises at all? What are the new enhancements coming? How are we going to compete in the marketplace with all the other new products that are coming up? All that good stuff. So without much further ado, Sajan, please take it away.
Thanks, Prasanna. Hello, everyone. My name is Sajan Parihar, and I lead the project and visual businesses for Microsoft. I'm based out of Microsoft HQ in Redmond, and it's an honor to be presenting at this conference. It is our first time doing such a large project virtual conference, and I'm really thankful to Prasanna and rest of MVPs to pull it through. We have a really exciting lineup of speakers, and I hope that you'll make the best use of this. And for today's presentation, my core aim here is to talk to you about the future of project and how we are thinking about evolving into the future. I have done this presentation to a partner community just about a few days ago. So if you're on the call, I'll let you know beforehand that I'm going to bring pretty much the same content. And towards the end, I'll be happy to take some questions. So if you have questions, please send them on the link you might see on your screen, and Prasanna will read those out to me towards the end. So before I dive into any details, I would like to just bring a disclosure statement, because without this, our legal may not even let me present the future. So it's always a good reminder that all the things I'm going to talk to you about are about the future investments. And as of now, we already released new enhancements for Project 2016, and we are currently working on the server release, which is scheduled to go live in the first half of 2016. And all the things you'll see on the slides here, think of those as post 2016 release. But those are things we have already sort of planned in our roadmap, and some of that you'll see come next year, and some of these things will come in the year after. So that's, I would say, the generic ballpark timeline, how you should be thinking about this. First thing, let me just start with a very basic philosophy that we have. Then I'll quickly cover the vision we have for the product or for this space as a whole. And then I will dive into the core product investment areas. So there are like three pillars for our philosophy for the whole product portfolio that we have. First, we do provide a very comprehensive tool set. And what I mean by that is essentially we have like a different user experience or a tool for project managers. We have a different experience for team members, and we'll have a different experience for senior executives who typically are interested primarily in reporting. And with that, we'll continue to have a comprehensive tool set. And I'll talk more that how we're going to even expand that beyond the core project teams. Second, we all know that we live in a world where everyone, if not more, we have at least 2 devices. And there are many people now who have 3 or sometimes even more. And that is something we are critically important. So we'll continue to serve our customers and users on the devices where we see a critical mass. Third is we are committed to both cloud and on-premise. And that's the reason why you are seeing that right now, while we have released new enhancements for Project 2016 in the cloud, we are now working on the server release, which, as I said, will come next year. But I think it shouldn't be any surprise to anybody that we will innovate faster and a lot more faster rather in the cloud, and on-premise is always going to be lagging behind. And that's something I think I would like to sort of reiterate, because that's a question I get asked all of the time, that when something will come to a server. Again, we can't comment unless we are closer to a server release, which is like almost like a 3-year cycle. Now, as we talked about the pace of innovation, as you can see here, that we have been adding new stuff to project every 3 years. But in 2013, once we went to the cloud, our innovation cycle has really shortened, and we have accelerated the pace of feature delivery. And what I can say that this pace is going to increase in the future, and you'll see that in our roadmap just in a few minutes. And the way you can think about that, in 2013 release, we first built a server and then we went to the cloud with that. But we were building the product with a clear goal that the same set of bits we are going to run in the cloud. After 2013 onwards, you can say that we are building for cloud first because we couldn't build a new server release within the 3-year time frame. And at certain point, that is now, we are taking a snapshot of the bits we have in the service in the cloud, and we are trying to package them and give it out for on-premise. So that's, I would say, in a very simplistic way of thinking about how we have sort of 2013 has been a pivotal moment for us, where we went away from being leading for server bits and we have gone to the cloud first. Now, I would like to take next few minutes to talk about our vision for this space. And I think it's critically important we spend some time about like how, as Microsoft, we are thinking about the space as a whole. And as some of you might know that Microsoft has the highest market share in this space. We have like more than 10,000 customers and more than 20 million users. I think that's really humbling for us to really have a large community of 20 million users, and we aspire to grow it even more. And I think we feel strongly like bullish about that. And this is something which is sort of grained in this slide, how we think we're going to expand our reach to beyond 20 million users. First, if you talk about, let's start with what is a project. A project can mean different things to different people. I would say many of you who have joined this broadcast, I would say you're pretty seasoned in projects. So for you, you have a very good understanding of what a project is. You think about methodologies, you think about risk and all that. But when you talk to like any average person in a company, and they might be working on, let's say this presentation that I am showing to you, it was a small project for my team. There was somebody on my team, they worked with they had to talk to customers, partners to get feedback. But it was a short-term project, which again, there was no big risk plan and all that. It was a set of tasks which needed to be delivered on time. And that's like a lightweight project. Likewise, you can talk to somebody, what you did over weekend. They will say, hey, I was cleaning my yard and I had like 4 people. They came, we did this and all that. And that is like a short-term project somebody's doing at home. And that just tells you that how varied this whole idea of project is. It can be as simple as 5 people working for 3 days versus thousands of people, let's say building an airplane, which takes many years. And as we thought about this space, I think there are like 2 good dimensions to be thinking about: level of complexity and the type of people or the number of people who are working on that. If you see here on the extreme left, I talk about the low level of complexity. And that's where you can say an individual managing his tasks. That can be your personal task or work task. And that's something we call that as just simple task management. And you'd say that, hey, I don't need a tool for that. And that's great. You can manage your tasks like using pen and paper. You can use sticky notes, or you can use like a mobile app. And for this space, we have acquired a company called Wunderlist, which I think we just made the acquisition a few months ago. And it's already bringing in like more than 13 million users. And that's something which I think is one of the best solutions we can have for task management. Next, if you move to the slide right, you think about any ad hoc team. Let's take an example of maybe a PR, a PR department of a company that has to put together press release. So for us, the consumers of a press release, it might be a simple 1-page document, but you can totally, I would say, imagine that at the back, there must be like 3, 4, 5 people that have huddled on that document. Somebody did a draft. They sent it for a quick review. It went to some senior executives for approval. So there is a basic, there you see the basic elements of a project. But when you talk to a PR person, she's going to say, I'm working on PR release. She's not going to say that I'm managing a project. And for him or her, that person, her, it is just work. And likewise, you can see so many examples like in marketing, in legal, in bunch of other departments where people have these, what I would say, lightweight projects, and they are just managing them in teams. And this whole space, we just call that as work management. But you see, again, a strong element of task, people coming together to get work done. Then on the high side, that's the space I would say, like most of you are familiar with, is project and portfolio management. And that's where you talk about PMOs, executives, project teams, where they are working on really, I would say, high-end projects, programs, or portfolios. And our goal is to really serve all these needs through Office 365. Now, with that as a background, if you ask me, so what is your vision for this space? I think our vision is very clear, and I've tried to put into as fewer words as possible. It's unified work, project, and portfolio management across devices. And I think the secret sauce here is to really not have 10 products catering to these different types of tasks or projects, but really bring a unified solution. But again, be mindful of the fact that you can't make the lower end, like the simple task management, you can't make it complex. It has to be simple. At the same time, you have to meet the needs of the different personas. So our goal here is that we will provide a unified solution, and that's what something we have been working on for I would say for almost like more than 2 years now. In fact, the last project conference, which we did in 2013, if you get a chance or if you were there, you would notice that we announced something similar. Only difference is that at that time we used the words integrated work, project, and portfolio management, but nothing has changed on that. And this is something we have been working on for last 2 years. And that's where I think the gap we found was more around in the middle, work management. And we have worked on a new product called Planner, which we just announced last month. So right now, that product, which is essentially part of Office 365, is in it's still not in the public domain. And that is something which is a part of our first release program. And if you're an Office 365 customer, and if you have opted into the first release program, so sometime this quarter we'll start to flight it into your tenants so you can experience it. But that is something we needed in the middle space, and then we acquired Wunderlist, which again will complete the whole spectrum. And the way this whole unification will play out is that first we will have a solution that helps you across both your work as well as life. And I'm very mindful of the fact that this is a very ambitious goal, and a lot of people may not see the direct link between working on a complex project and their personal life. But I can attest myself that I have been using Wunderlist for my personal life, and you can say that all my reminders and all the tasks, they come into a Wunderlist. And over time, once we integrate Wunderlist, Planner, and Project Online, all my tasks, regardless of whether they are coming from my personal life, from a lightweight project, or from a heavyweight project, program, you name it, will flow to Wunderlist. And that is, I would say, like just one example how this unification is going to play out. Second pillar you'll see here is more built for teamwork. Whether it's a lightweight project or a complex project, you can say that there's always a team working on it. You might have a team only of a small number of people, or you might have a team only for a short time frame, or you might have a project team that works on a project for years. It doesn't make too much of difference from a product standpoint. At the end of the day, we have to make sure that everybody is getting a great experience while collaborating on tasks. They should be able to see project documents, schedule meetings, do calls, video calls, and all of that. I think we're getting that from Office 365. And I think that's something I would say, if you ask me, one of the very differentiating factors that our customers experience or the users like about Project Online is us being built on top of Office 365. And last but not the least is that from product side, although I talked about integration across Project, Planner, and Wunderlist, just to give you some more insights, we are going to expand this unification across other products within Microsoft and in some cases outside Microsoft. Like for example, like even today, many customers use Visio for process modeling. And a lot of time, you can, let's say if you are a manufacturing company, you can visualize your whole assembly plan in Visio. And assuming now you have to run operations, you have to create different projects like maintenance project. You can see a really nice dashboard right inside Visio itself, which will show you like the real world diagram of a floor plan or a steel plant. And from there, you can then initiate even projects. This is something I would say we still need to show that in action. I have seen how large enterprises use this to really visualize the state of their manufacturing operations. And we see a great scenario for us to really bring together process management into this world of project management. And we see the convergence happening on the horizon. In fact, some customers have already started to sort of play with that. Second, which I think many of you will be familiar with this, like for on-premise, we support integration of project server and TFS server. But in the cloud, we are going to integrate Project Online with Visual Studio Online. Again, that's one way where again you're going to bring more integration and have a unified solution. And I'll talk more about that scenario just in a few minutes. Next is just an example. Like let's think about a large project, and you can start on Project Online, where you can do your portfolio management, portfolio selection. You look at your demand. Next, you can create different project teams. Let's say here you've got 3 projects, and that's where Project Online can work. Now imagine, let's say you're working on a project and you want procurement to purchase, let's say, an equipment for you, maybe 3 computers. Today, what happens is that a lot of these tasks, which are tied to a project, they go off in an email, and then you have to track them manually, and then you really don't know where your actual status is. And in future, what we're going to do is you can do all of these 2 things, what I'm showing on the screen right now in Project Online. And let's say once you're going to assign a task to a non-project team member, like in this case, maybe a procurement person who just needs, whom you want to help you with just buying a piece of equipment, it will show up in their planner, Office 365 planner. And that's how this whole thing will be unified across. And we're going to expand the reach of the project outside project teams to pretty much everybody in a company. And I think that's where you will see us being very aggressive in investing into Planner. And in fact, we have been iterating on that really quick. Where our goal there with Planner is just to get into hands of as many people as possible. And I would say, like Bill Gates said back in the days that a desktop on every, a PC on every desk. I would say I want Planner in hands of everybody who is using Office. And that's the goal we have. Now let's talk, well, I'll switch gears now, and I will talk about, so that's essentially about our vision and how we are approaching this whole space. That should give you a good idea about where our investments are going to go. Now, as I think about the actual roadmap and the core product sets, there are 3 things we generally keep in mind. First, like how do we fit into the grand schemes of things at Microsoft? Second, what is happening with Office 365? Because that's essentially our technology platform that we're building on top of. And third is to look at what is happening in the marketplace. And all these things I would say are almost equally important for us. And there has been a tremendous push at Microsoft behind project. And I think many of you might have experienced that. We are in a sense investing heavily in all parts of the business because we see project as a big differentiating factor for us in the marketplace. So let me start with the context from Microsoft as a whole. I won't spend time on the mission, but I think it's something you'll see here is that we talk about every person and every organization on the planet to do more. And that's where you'll see that we are expanding it out from project teams to every person on the planet in a literal sense, I would say, because with Wunderlist, we essentially can, even if you're not a project user, we'll bring you into this fold of task and lightweight projects. Second, you might have heard from pretty much every leader at Microsoft will say mobile first, cloud first. And that is essentially our worldview today. And in today's world, it's mobile first, cloud first. And that's what you'll see us prioritizing and building for. Third is if I have to talk about the top 3 priorities of Microsoft as a company, essentially they will fall into these 3. First, reinvent productivity and business processes. Second, build the intelligent cloud platform, which essentially is Azure. And third is to create more personal computing. And that's where you'll see us like building Surface Book, Surface Pro, and a bunch of devices. So these are essentially, I would say, the 3 big priorities of Microsoft. And when you look at reinvent productivity, that is something we are doing with Office and broader Office 365. And quickly after that, once you talk about business processes, that's where you'll see we have products like Dynamics, our ERP, CRM, Project, and Visio. That's essentially a space where you fit, because at the end of the day, in the project world, a lot of work we do is around business processes. So you can say that. So there are literally like 2 or 3 products at Microsoft that fit into that. And this is something which is critically important for us. And we are going to make sure that we do an awesome job in meeting the needs of our users around business processes. And that can be different types of business processes. They can be from financials like ERP, CRM, from Dynamics, project, demand management, resource management. And I think you get it. Like there are a whole lot of processes that we all support with project. Next is like 365. It has been, I would say, almost like flying like a rocket. And I won't repeat all these numbers here, but to give you a quick sense that now 4 out of 5 Fortune 500 enterprises are on Office 365. And I think that's a tremendous uptick we have seen in the cloud space. And this is just, I would say, a base that we are seeing is now powering the growth of Project Online, a project in the cloud. And you can imagine that as customers take their email, their communication, their SharePoint, everything to the cloud, it's only logical, it's only a matter of time. They are taking their project to the cloud as well. And that's something which we see happening now with Project Online. Now, the third, and I would say one of the most important piece for us is, as we think about future investments, is like, what are the key trends in project management space? Now, while I have listed 3 trends here, but I would also like to remind us that one of the biggest shift we have seen is, back in the days, I would say a few years ago, you would see that a project manager will use Project Desktop, and they're going to manage their project plan, and they will manually go around and check the task status, update it, report it, and all that. And I think that one of the first biggest change I've seen that more and more customers are using project in a connected environment. That means either they connect to project server or they connect to Project Online, because they want their team members to be connected and they want their teams to really see tasks. And this whole idea of updating tasks, creating reports should be as frictionless as possible. That is a huge trend. But outside of that, I would say if I look at the marketplace, there are 3 things that I would say we are going to pay close attention to. First is agile project management. And we are seeing a rise of mixed methodology environments. And I would say it's more like the world or the different enterprises are becoming multimodal. And I don't see that there is a huge push to one versus other. It's just that we see that there are multiple methodologies that are being used in a given company. And I meet with a lot of customers every year, anywhere between 50 to 100. This is something I see very common. A lot of time, at times companies may not necessarily know that which methodology is being standardized across whole enterprise, because when you talk to different departments, they have their own way of doing things. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if you ask me, we are going to support this multimodal world. And that's where I would say like our partner ecosystem has done a phenomenal job in meeting the needs and adapting project to different methodologies in different parts of the world. But agile is one where I've seen that it is a trend now which is sort of broken off, in a sense that there's a critical mass around agile now. And that's something we're going to respond to through our product investments. Second is proliferation of devices. Again, that's something which I talked earlier, and that's the second big trend we are going to address through our roadmap. And third is consumerization. What I mean by this is that like more and more people are using public services, internet services rather. Let's say you are doing your shopping on Amazon, or you're looking at other sites to either plan your vacation, book travel tickets and all that. And with that, as users, they experience, I would say, more seamless and modern user experience. They expect something similar, easy to use is, I would say, one of the foremost thing I keep hearing with Project Online or any enterprise software for that matter. And you would say that I think we'll make significant changes to our UI. But one thing you will hear me say repeatedly in the next few minutes is around ease of use. Because that's something we are going to really, I would say, think a lot about it, obsess about it, and make sure that we are driving it at we are doing our best we can on that. And that's going to be one of the big investments we're going to make in terms of user experience. Now, with that as a background, Let's talk about some quickly about the actual investments we're making. And I have categorized them into 7 buckets here. First is a redesigned user experience. Second is agile. Third is program management. Although we do support program management today, but I think we're going to do more in this. Next is financials management. To be clear, we are not going to create an ERP module for financials. That's not the goal here, but we will meet the needs of project financials, like out-of-box experience on that, and I'll show you just in a few minutes. Next is provide more out-of-the-box reports. So today we have got lots of reports in the project desktop, and we are now going to provide lots of out-of-box reports in the cloud. And we will also provide more native apps for Android, iOS, Windows, the different platforms which are out there. And finally, as I said, we are going to integrate Planner Wunderlist with Project Online. To really expedite so there are like lots of stuff here in the roadmap. To really expedite our journey to deliver like a lot of these investments, what we have done is that we have made few acquisitions just literally last month. And if you have not seen the blog post, I'll encourage you to go to Office Blogs and check for the project acquisitions we made. And this is again, I would say like a big benefit we gain from our partner community. And I think we have been sort of very upfront with that. We see partners a really critical part of our ecosystem, and not just in terms of serving custom needs, but also working with us in giving feedback on the product. And with cloud, what I've seen that given that there is a lot of partners who are building on top of Office 365, for some of these needs, we felt that we can literally acquire their apps or add-ins, which is like you can say sort of custom solutions which are posted on Office Store, and we can really expedite how quickly we can bring these things to the market for the broader customer community. So let's cover a few things on what I mean by redesigned user experience. So you can expect a really modern front homepage where you should be able to like just simply put your email ID and get started with a trial. So today we let people or users do trial only if they come through our own direct Microsoft person, like one of our salesperson, or they come through a partner. But I think as we evolve in the future, we are going to make sure that we just make it so seamless that you can just enter your email and you should be getting started with Project Online trial. By the way, today you can do a project desktop trial by going to our website. Second is a getting started experience. Now, a lot of these things will look like our project desktop today, but this is just a browser-based solution. So you can expect to see different templates. You can see the more recent projects, and with that, you should be able to get started quickly. And it might be as simple as just clicking on a template, or you can start from blank project, enter the name, and then you go through a wizard-like experience to just get started. And once you get started, you'll see this. The user experience will be essentially like Excel. So that's a UI metaphor that everybody is very familiar with. And the low bar we have here is that as long as somebody knows how to use Excel, they should be able to do that with Project Online. Even today, our Project Online is in a sense looks like Excel. There's like a bunch of rows and columns, but we'll just make it even more look like an Excel just to drive more ease of use. And assuming here that you have entered, like filled in the data, and you should be able to really assign tasks to anybody, and the resource will be added automatically to your team, to the project team. At the same time, you should be able to pick folks even from outside the company. That means you can, let's say you're working on a project and you have to collaborate with your supplier, vendor, or some other company. You can just enter their details here, and you should be able to share a task with them. So that's something will facilitate that you can really collaborate across your organization boundaries. Next, we'll provide everything within the context. So let's say if you are on a project, you're looking at a project. On the left side, if you look at, there's a pointer that says that you can access project detail pages in the context of a project. And this is a navigation bar where you'll see your issues and risk, financials, or anything related to that project. Next, we'll make it even seamless to collaborate with your team. And that means you should be able to attach attachments or documents to any task. And it should be as simple as in a couple of clicks, so that whenever somebody goes to that task, they can see related documents right just within the context itself. Click on a task on the right pane, you're going to see the documents. And we'll also provide you visual cues that shows that whether this task has a document attached to it or if there's an issue or a risk. So all those things will make it more visual for you. And likewise, once you click on a task and if there's issue or risk, we'll show you that. Likewise, you can also converse around a task. So if you want to, like, let's say there's a task, you can ask questions, you can comment on it. And the key benefit here is that not only it will help you to collaborate more, at the same time, it also helps with knowledge retention for future. So I'm assuming somebody has worked on a project, they changed roles, they moved to a different team. As long as people are using it, you can say that a lot of that knowledge that tells you that how a particular decision was made on a project or a task will be stored with that project itself. I talked about issues and risks, so you'll see again a visual cue for that. You can click on it, you can see an issue or a risk, and you can just click on add. You should be able to add the issues or risk for a task. And finally, we'll provide like a issue and risk matrix, which is essentially one of the industry best practices, which helps teams to prioritize the issues or risk they should be tackling first. Now, the other thing we're going to make it simple for everyone is around project snapshots. So you can expect like a timeline type view. You can go back in time and we'll just show you the snapshot of a project, that what the state was. And all of that is going to come in Project Online. And right now today, we do take backups of everything we have in Project Online. But I think one of the common asks we have heard from customers is to make it far more simpler for end users to restore projects in few simple clicks. So that's something we are prioritizing as part of a roadmap. So you'll expect like you don't have to go through like a support desk and call and get a backup restored. It's going to be as simple as go to project plan, look for previous versions, and then you can restore from there. So once again, as I said before, ease of use, that's a big mantra you'll see with Project Online. Next is like, we have seen many customers, they still, even though you can see the project plan in Project Online or with the Project Desktop, given that sometimes they would still like to print a project plan, either bring to a meeting, or let's say somebody is working on a remote factory where they may not have a great internet access, or a construction worker who would like to have a project plan in hand. So we're going to make it again really easy for everyone to like just come to Project Online and print a high fidelity plans easily from the browser. This is something I believe is going to serve needs of lots of users, because this is something I hear quite often. Second pillar is around Agile. So in case of Agile, as I said, we are going to make it seamless for you to really manage both waterfall, Agile projects. And we'll also support integration of waterfall projects with Visual Studio Online or Team Foundation Server. And that's something you can easily be able to do that in Project Online. Now, we'll also provide an out-of-box Agile experience inside Project Online. And there are a few scenarios we think of here. There'll be a lot of customers, they may want to create a project in Project Online, and then they would do the whole like task management and team management, everything in Project Online. And we'll support that scenario out of the box. At the same time, if you look at a lot of the developer audience who might be working on Visual Studio or Jira for that matter, we will support integration with those products. So I would say like we are going to have a really good story around Agile. And again, we'll provide a variety of choices, and we'll also support integration with the leading solutions in the marketplace, which essentially like the other two big ones is Visual Studio Online and Jira. Now, again, you can get started on, like, as I talked about other projects, you can expect a template for Agile. You can get started with that. We'll provide you a set of steps to guide you through the whole experience so that you can get started with an Agile project. Next, you should be able to visually manage your backlog. And you can manage a prioritized backlog, plan iterations and sprints, break down product backlog into a series of sprints with a well-defined start and end dates. So like something that you expect in any Agile project. You can also break down a sprint into tasks, and as you might guess that you would want to move tasks from one phase to another. That's something we'll support. And we'll also provide you more reports for your Agile projects. So anything we create, any project you have or portfolio, there's going to be a really rich reporting experience around surrounding that. Next is we will as I said, we'll support integration with other systems. And like the two we have been thinking about is Visual Studio Online and Jira. So for Visual Studio Online, we are already working on that. So sometime next year, I would say we'll start to showcase that to you. But our thinking here is that once we create the set of APIs that we need to integrate with the Visual Studio Online, we're going to really use the same APIs and look into integrating with Jira. So that's the intent we have here. And I believe that that shouldn't be too hard for us to do, but we'll see how things unfold on that. Next is for Agile connectors. So we will just bring an interface to end users so that project managers themselves can go ahead and just connect their project to Agile solution at the back. And again, this is going to be user experience for that. Put the connection parameters in and we'll hook up the connection. So once again, we'll prioritize those two solutions, Visual Studio Online and Jira. Next pillar we have is around program management. Now, even today we support programs, like many customers, they manage their programs in Project Online or Project Server. But I think what we are going to do is we are going to really make a lot of investments here to support it more like, I would say, as a first-class citizen. What I mean by that is we will define separate entities, which are programs. And it's important to understand, I think, what a program is. Because when I meet with, especially with lots of customers, I sometimes get a different understanding of programs. So it can mean like slightly different things for different people. But we have gone with, I would say, like a very much industry definition of a program. So a program can comprise of multiple projects, whereas a portfolio can comprise of only projects or maybe only programs or a mix of projects and programs. So you can think of that as a hierarchy. Start with projects, next level is programs, and the next level is portfolio that can comprise either of only programs or projects as well. So that is essentially the definition we have gone with. And we'll let you manage your portfolios and programs. And we are going to provide like really out-of-box support. So think of here that, let's say a user has multiple portfolios that he has access to. You can click on that and you can see all the programs and projects that are underneath that portfolio. At the same time, let's say here I double click on a program. And if you notice that there are some visual cues that will show you that whether this project is being managed inside Project Online or is it being managed outside, maybe in TFS or a Visual Studio Online. And the thinking here is that many companies, they use Project Server or Project Online as a solution where they essentially prioritize their projects, their investments, create project plans, and then if it's an IT project, they will let the IT team manage the development and operations inside, let's say, TFS server. And I think that's a very natural scenario, and we are not going to force it one way versus the other. We would rather serve the needs in a as natural way as possible to meet the needs of really our end customers, so that it has to be really like a seamless experience for them to really bring all these solutions together. Now, again, as I said, whatever we're going to do, as showed Agile, will be reports. Likewise, the programs will create reports, and that will provide you actual insights into your programs. Next is financial management. So here what we have done is we've acquired a partner solution from a company called Projectum. This is already built on top of Office 365. And with this, what we'll provide to you is really easy way to track project financials. And with this in Project Online, our project managers should be able to track a project budget, actual variance and forecast. And this something is already built on Project Online. It's being used by like many enterprise customers. And we will share the more integration details later this quarter. So right now we are just looking into how quickly we can integrate. And we have to go through the code reviews and all that. That's something which we'll do in coming weeks. And we'll share the integration plan later this quarter. Next, we will also support multi-currency. So this is something I've seen like for a lot of multinationals, they would have a budget in one currency, but then they would like to, for a whole portfolio, but they would like to manage different projects in the local currency. And with the multi-currency support, it will help users to manage a project in the local currency. While when you do a roll-up, you can just see that in a different currency at the program or portfolio level. And I think that's something is going to really help our customers who work across, I would say, currency boundaries, or sometimes who have a program or portfolio that really spans to that covers different currencies. Out-of-box reports. So as I said earlier that we do have lots of reports in desktop, and we're going to provide even a lot more in cloud for Project Online for the PPM scenarios. And for this, we're going to provide a portfolio dashboard. Again, to expedite our journey here, what we've done is we've acquired a set of reports which were built on Office 365. And again, they were built for Project Online by one of our partners called Sensei. And we really have brought in the portfolio dashboard. And that's something we'll start to share the integration details again later this quarter. So you can expect that there are lots of reports built for programs and portfolios that will be provided out of box in Project Online. And there are lots of reports here. I have not pulled together the comprehensive list. This is just I would say a quick insight into you have you can analyze discrepancies across your whole projects, and you can look at a drill down to additional details. So there's going to be a lot of these type of reports that we have already in the system. At the same time, not only will provide you more reports, we'll also make them available through iPad. And this is something, again, it already exists, and we just need to integrate because this is something, again, we just acquired. But I think to be clear that while we are going to bring these set of reports out of box, that's from the front end experience. You can say that whatever number of reports we provide, I'm pretty sure that every customer will still want to get more reports. Everybody likes to get a different set of reports that really meets their custom need. And for that, we're going to use Power BI as a core platform. And we're also working on a Power BI PPM content pack. So that's something in the works. And once that is done, we'll make it available to everyone through, again, Project Online and Office 365. And going forward, you can say that at the technology level, our reporting platform for cloud is going to be Power BI. And that is something you'll see it's happening across whole Microsoft. And in fact, we are even letting other players in the industry, they've started to take bet on our reporting platform, which I think is exciting because we'll have a great reporting experience for everyone. In terms of native apps, so I covered native app iPad for I would say managers or even executives who need portfolio reports in iPad. We'll also provide native apps for project managers and team members. First, for project managers, we do foresee they will create their project plans in Project Desktop. They can store in Project Online. But then if they want to, view the project plan or really stay on top of what is happening, they will provide a companion app on iPad. So you can, project managers can really stay informed while they're traveling, or they just have iPad with them, and they should be able to see all the project details, in terms of reporting, risk, everything around that. And you should be able to drill down into more things related to a project. So this essentially we're going to pull the data from Project Online and just show it inside iPad native app. For team members, I think there are two scenarios here. One is task and timesheets. And that's something, again, we will support that for Android, Windows, and iOS platform. So you can expect native apps from us. So these apps, I would say, for timesheet, they're already ready. We just need to figure out in next, maybe this quarter, we'll come up with a plan when we'll make it available to everyone. But this will make it easy for everybody to really capture their timesheets while they're traveling. Maybe you're on a bus stop waiting for a bus, or on a train you're traveling. And with the native app, regardless of the type of platform you're on your phone, be it Android, iOS, or Windows, you should be able to, your team members should be able to enter their timesheets. And the last investment pillar I have is around integrating with Planner and Wunderlist. Again, this is something which I pretty much covered towards the beginning of my talk track. But you can think again, just to reiterate, think of in a very simple terms. Let's say for the core IT or developers, the way we are going to let customers create projects in Project Online, and IT can manage in Visual Studio Online or TFS Server or Jira. Likewise, for I would say other business users, HR, finance, legal, procurement, we will start to bring them together with Project Online through Planner. So you can create your project plan, have a set of tasks, and then you can start to assign that to everybody in the whole company. And as long as they are on Office 365, which means they will have access to Planner, and they should be able to see the task and work on it, and then the status will be rolled up to your project. And finally, all the tasks which I start towards the beginning, and I'm going to close at that note. So everything will flow all the way down to Wunderlist. And Wunderlist, you can expect you will have your personal task. Like in this example, I have on the screen, you have a business travel. Then you see that there is a node for Office 365 Planner. That's where all your lightweight tasks will come. And if you happen to be using if you happen to be being part of a big project which is being managed in Project Online, you'll see those tasks also show up in your Wunderlist. So then after you can really say that everything will start to come together just into one in a unified way. So with that, I'm coming to the closure of my talk track here. And just before I give it to Prasanna for any questions he might have, I would love to stay connected with everyone. So I would encourage you to keep an eye on office.com/roadmap for everything that is coming from Office 365, be it from Office, Skype for Business, SharePoint, Project Online, or other products we have. We just post all the upcoming things as a few weeks before we start to roll them out on this particular site. So that's a great mechanism to stay up to date. Second is, if you're not on one of our social channels, I'll encourage you to follow us on be it on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, and we'd love to stay connected. And for me, well, my name is Sarjan Parihar, sarjanp@microsoft.com. If you got any feedback, anything, you can email me, or I'm on LinkedIn. You can reach me on that as well. So with that, I would like to wrap up my session. Once again, thanks for your time. And with that, I'll pass it on to Prasanna. Prasanna, if you've got any questions for me.
Thank you very much, Sarjan. Yes, we do have some questions. Looks like we had some issues with the chatting app, but we do have some questions. Eric Van Herk is asking, he did not see a publish button for the schedules or on the screenshots. Is that a omission, or is that something that is being taken out?
Okay, I would appreciate his attention to detail. Think of these screenshots as mock-ups. So there's nothing, we're not taking away anything publish any of the feature, if that's what the question is about. So these are more like a mock-ups at this point.
Okay,
Yep.
Great. Naga is asking, I think you answered this question, but I think it will be helpful for other people. Will we have Exchange integration? Because now it seems like Planner and Wunderlist are the core of this integration. So will that connect to Exchange for people who are using Exchange online or on premises?
Yes, in fact, I think the Exchange integration is already in the flight. We might have already released it this month. So we want to take a look at that. So the email integration of Exchange, which we exported for Project Server.
Yes.
And yes, no, I think that's something which we have been working on that for online, for Office 365. And I would say go to this, either search on this office.com/roadmap, or you want to search on TechNet. I think you should have details there.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
We probably have time for one more question. Dave Fletcher is asking, is there a place regarding the financials app, I would assume, is there a place where they can maintain the exchange rates? We talked about multiple currencies, but with companies being global, I would assume there has to be a place where you can maintain all that stuff.
Yeah, I think, okay, there are different ways companies manage their exchange rates or where they store. So I would say we will have to, we still are working on the integration details for the app that we acquired. And I think we have to really think about that. Do we just have a set of APIs that can consume the exchange rates from any external systems? Or should we just provide a table within our system itself? Maybe, within Project Online, where we will have to sync, or companies have to, put the exchange rate towards beginning of FY. We have not worked out those details yet, but I think that's something which we are going to think about. Rather, that's top of mind for us.
Very nice. And again, Eric is asking one more question. When will we actually see all these changes in Project Online?
Just tomorrow morning. Okay, I was kidding about that. I think you will see these things will come into phases. And I'll give you just a high level overview, so at least you get a sense of when these things are going to come. First of all, a lot of things that I showed you, out-of-box reports, native apps, and all that, even project financials. We have already acquired the IP. In fact, all of that today works on top of Project Online. But just I'm being transparent here that, you'll say, if it already works, why don't you just release it tomorrow itself? The reason is Before we release anything at our end, we have to look at the code, go through, like look at the security checks, all there's like a lot of stuff we have to do. We also have to look at multilingual support, and that's something we are going to work on the integration plan for these acquisitions, I would say this quarter. And so sometime before end of the quarter, we'll communicate to you that when you can expect project financials or the out of box reporting and all that. And so that's something I would say a lot of this will come in next year. Some of that you might see as early as first half of next year. Like Visual Studio Online is like one integration, which I know that we have been working on that for quite a while. And I definitely think that if not GA, you'll see the preview in the first half of calendar year. So Visual Studio Online, that will come there, and we'll start to bring these reporting apps and all. The UI piece is the one where you can expect that that's going to be like in phases. We don't plan to do a big bang rollout that, hey, decide a date and then flip everything over, because we are totally mindful of the change management, and UI is what that will change in incremental fashion. And that's something you can say we'll do some stuff next year and we'll do some of that in the year following. So that's, I would say, at a very high level. But again, as I said, you should keep an eye on, I would say, on this roadmap URL I provided. Few weeks before things start to come out, we will share that with you.
Very nice, very nice. So I do have one question of my own, Sajan.
Sure.
Wunderlist is so popular in consumer space.
Yep.
So what's the plan for? So when I talk to enterprises about using Wunderlist, or when we talk to other partners about the whole rollout that has happened a couple of weeks ago, or the discussion. So how are you planning to make it enterprise ready? I think that's the question.
Yeah, I think first of all, thanks for bringing that question. I would say there are two parts here. One is when you think of an app like Wunderlist, and when you talk about how to make it enterprise ready, there are two parts to it. One, the front end. The front end user experience, I would say, okay, it's awesome, it's great. There's not a whole lot we have to do. At the back, I think what we need to do is we have to make sure that today the consumer data resides in a different server environment, which is not Office 365. And I think that's okay for consumer. We can't bring our enterprise data to outside our Office 365 environment. So what we'll do is we will, the data at the back will stay inside 365, and there's absolutely 100%. That's where it stays today. It will stay there. We are just going to bring it down and add one more tab on Wunderlist. So think of that as an end user experience where we're going to pull data just from one more system, which in this case happens to be Office 365. Outside of that, we are still going to go through our normal due diligence like we do for any company for that matter. Like we acquired Sunrise and few more for Office 365. We will look at the native app for compliance, security, and all other factors you can think about, and that's how we will make it enterprise ready.
Very good, very good. I think that actually it will be a question that will be asked more and more as we make this all public. So one last question. I think we have 3 more minutes to go. So
sure.
So the apps that Microsoft acquired from partners, Sensei and Projectum.
Yep.
So my understanding was that they will be natively integrated into Project Online as Microsoft apps going forward. Is that correct?
Yes, that's 100% correct.
Okay, I have seen those apps and I think they are very, very slick.
Yes. No, they are. In fact, as you know that even today, they are integrated with the Project Online or Office 365. In fact, that's pretty much the only system they work on. Let's talk about our reporting solution, like the portfolio reporting solution we got from Sensei. It already works on top of 365. But again, it goes back to the question you had for Wunderlist. Like at our end, we have to make sure that these things are really I would say enterprise ready, in terms of security, compliance, and all that. Exactly. And that's the reason why, even though they work today, many customers are using it in the cloud. But once we put a Microsoft stamp on top of that, we have to go through that due diligence so that the day we make it available to the whole world, okay, they should be they are Microsoft apps. So you can expect that all the security compliance needs we have already covered our bases on that.
That makes real sense. And you made a lot of people happy when Microsoft acquired those apps. And I mean, I remember the days when I had to build something like that for the timesheet actuals and the whole time budget across years and that kind of stuff. So Projectum has a really good app for that. Um,
No, nice.
so
I think if I can just make a comment on that, I
sure.
really like to sort of say that I think that's where I said one of our core strengths is not about which comes from outside Microsoft is the partner ecosystem. These are just some examples of how we can expedite the pace of innovation, not just using cloud as a lever for our own product team, but also leverage our partner ecosystem to meet the needs faster. And
Right.
last but not the least, I think our message, I keep repeating this message in pretty much in every customer meeting that especially for the cloud, before you build, like once you I mean before you start to create custom solutions, really take a hard look at our platform, because a lot of time that there are a lot of there's tons of richness into the project online platform, and more often than not your needs should be met out of box. If not, the next step should be look at the Office store. That's the place where we see more and more customers are meeting their custom needs, and then only they should be looking at doing a custom solution. There again, if you see a add-in in the Office store, if it doesn't totally fit your need, talk to that partner who has built it, because if they built something which fits 80% of your need, they might be able to customize the product and sideload it, which essentially means that you're not installing it from Office Store. You're getting an add-in directly from that ISV partner. So that's something I would say, how we can respond to our end user needs way faster with Office Store and our partner ecosystem.
Fantastic. And I think we are close to the closing time. So thank you very much, Sarjan, for taking the time out. I know it's in Seattle, it's pretty early in the morning. Thank you for doing the keynote for this conference. We are attempting to do something that Microsoft has always done in the past years, and we're attempting to do it virtually. So it was great to have your team's support and your support for this event.
Thanks a lot, Prasanna. Once again, it was a great pleasure, and I would say have a excellent conference. And I would say our product team will be fully exporting the rest of sessions that are planned for this project virtual conference. Thank you,
Great.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much.